This is an example of how you can shape space first, and the architecture supports that. And you can read that from this distance. When you see this project from a distant view, you can understand that something else is happening here. It isn't just some iconic skyscraper. And every residential building must have at least 2 hours of sunlight minimum per day. And these lines, what you're looking at, that actually cut the elevation, that give the shape, the interesting shape to the project, actually come right from a zoning diagram, and you can see the position of the sun is here, and these sun diagonal lines are going down to the adjacent residential building. So the building, in a way, you could say, is sliced by sunlight. We're on site at the sliced porosity block in Chengdu. Chengdu in China, for 2,000 years, it's the oldest city to have the same name in the same place. We're in the History Pavilion, and this is part of the concept of buildings within buildings. The entire thing is made out of bamboo, raw bamboo, and Corten steel. This will be a public place for understanding the history. There'll be digital projections in here and telling an orientation pavilion for everyone, all the public that visits this place. But as you can see, when you look out of it, you can see Renmin Avenue, which is the main avenue in Chengdu, like Fifth Avenue is the main avenue in New York. The entire project is organized to open to the south, bring south light into this plaza, have a gentle ramp that connects down to all the traffic of people walking on Renmin, and then shaping a public space with the entire project having the same morphology. In some ways, the only inspiration historically for this project is Rockefeller Center, which I always love. The way Rockefeller Center shapes a big public space without any building being iconic. To really know a people, you must understand their poetry first. And ancient Chinese poetry is probably the deepest tradition on earth of poetry. And then Du Fu is one of the greatest poets, and he lived in Chengdu. So when I came here, I went to the Du Fu Pavilion, and I found this fragment in one of his poems called Prelude. And it goes, "This fugitive between the earth and the sky, from the northeast, storm-tossed to the southwest, time has left stranded in 3 valleys." So we had that poem as a kind of feeling about the project, and we made this project in 3 valleys. There are 3 bodies of water, each related to time, and each one is named after a gorge. That's the Wu Gorge. You see that long skylight that's under that water fountain. That's the Wu Gorge. The Kutang Gorge is down below, and there's the Shilin Gorge here. You see this wonderful skylight here. So there's a kind of carving out of the space down below that relates to the fountains on the top. So the building is very interesting in section. This is the fountain of the 12 months. You can see a very rough cast iron trough, these 12 spouts that come out. And all this water is recycled. The whole project is on there's 482 geothermal wells, 100 meters deep below the shopping center that give the heating and cooling here, and natural ventilation to all spaces. One of the things about working in China is, right now I feel it's a culture that understands the urgency of building for the future, and I'm very proud to be able to realize projects like 3 million square feet on a greatly sustainable level, and with all the green aspects that we can embrace. This is the lower of the 3 plaza levels, and this is the fountain of 30 days. So there are 30 spouts of water. But right towards the edge, we wanted to have more green. So you have this feeling of the earth kind of pushing through at that edge. We broke up the plaza, and so we have sedum that actually brings up the feeling of a green breaking through of the actual plaza level, even though there's a shopping center right below us. There's something like 11 different ways that you can enter this big public space, and this is the most important one. This one connects back on the main road, and you can see the activity of the city beyond. So this really does connect to the urban space of the city. Here at the fountain of 366 days, which is marking the leap year of 2012, which this project opened. You can see the marking of the 366 days in granite blocks, the weeks marked in a glass block with light, and the carved granite, which intercepts the water, giving the maximum sound for the minimum amount of water flow. and you see the reflection of the light pavilion by Lebuswood in the water. So you have this combination of this almost like moonlight that creates enough light to give a kind of glow in the entire space. The concept of buildings within buildings was something that was driving the original design of this entire complex. And here in the hotel is inserted Lebuswood's light pavilion. And it's an amazing work. The vectors of light, vectors of beams of light, bend and intersect a stainless steel sleeve that lines the roof and the walls and the floor of this cut in the section. So what happens is there is a kind of dissolve of infinity going up, infinity going over, infinity going down. You actually lose the sense of gravity. What's amazing is in 2 weeks' time, since this has been lit every night at 6 o'clock, and people have seen it, they begin to call it Shuguan, which is time light. It's an incredible poetic justice, because the entire idea of three valleys suspended in time is what organizes the entire public space here. So I'm sure Lebus would be happy that it's Shuguan, time light.